In the heart of a sun-scorched African village, where the earth cracked under the relentless heat, lived two souls bound by a love as deep as the roots of the ancient baobab tree. Their names were Kofi and Amara. Their world was small, a tapestry woven with threads of hardship and hope, where every sunrise brought the same struggle for survival, yet every sunset was painted with dreams of a future together. Kofi, with hands calloused from tilling the unforgiving soil, would often look at Amara and see the entire world. Her laughter was the only music that could drown out the rumbling of his empty stomach. They would sit under the shade of the lone acacia, sharing a meager piece of flatbread, their conversation a gentle river flowing with plans. One day, Kofi would whisper, his voice earnest, "I will build you a house with a roof that doesn't leak when the rains come. We'll have a field of maize so tall you can get lost in it." Amara would smile, her eyes reflecting the endless sky. She believed him. She saw the strength in his spirit, a fire that poverty couldn't extinguish. She worked tirelessly beside him, her fingers nimble as she wove baskets to sell at the market, each one a silent prayer for a better tomorrow. But their reality was a harsh one. The harvest failed again, the rains never came, and the shadow of debt loomed larger each day, a vulture circling their fragile dreams. The village elder, a man whose face was a roadmap of past famines, offered no solace. "The land is tired," he would say, his voice a dry rustle of leaves. "It has nothing more to give." The desperation in the village was a palpable thing, a heavy blanket smothering the air. Young men began to leave, their eyes set on the distant glow of the city, a place they spoke of in hushed, hopeful tones. A place of steel giants and endless lights, where money grew on trees for those willing to work. One evening, as the moon hung like a silver sickle in the sky, Kofi made a decision that would break both their hearts. He sat with Amara, holding her hand, his thumb tracing patterns on her skin. "I have to go," he said, the words catching in his throat. "There is nothing for us here, Amara. The debt is too great. I will go to the city. I will find work, I will make enough money, and I will come back for you. I promise." Tears welled in Amara's eyes, each one a tiny ocean of their shared memories. The city was a monster in her mind, a place that swallowed boys and spit out strangers. "Don't go, Kofi," she pleaded, her voice a whisper. "We can survive. We always have." "Surviving isn't living," Kofi replied, his own voice thick with unshed tears. "I want to live with you, Amara. Not just survive. I need to do this. For us." He spoke of the future he envisioned so clearly, a wedding with the whole village celebrating, children with her eyes and his stubborn chin, a life free from the gnawing ache of hunger. His words were a powerful current, and slowly, reluctantly, she let herself be carried by his hope. She knew he was right. Their love couldn't flourish on barren ground. The day of his departure arrived like a thief in the night. The air was thick with the dust of the dry season. They walked together to the crossroads, the very edge of their world, where the path split, one way leading back to the village, the other stretching into an unknown horizon. They didn't speak. There were no words left that could bridge the chasm opening between them. He held out a small, crudely carved wooden bird. "I made this for you," he said, "so you won't forget me." She clutched it to her chest. "How could I ever forget you?" She handed him a small pouch of groundnuts, a meager provision for a long journey. "Be safe, Kofi." "I will return," he vowed, his eyes locking with hers. "Wait for me at this very spot when the jacaranda tree blooms for the third time. I will be here. I promise." He turned and walked away without looking back, knowing that if he saw her face one more time, his resolve would crumble. Amara stood there, a solitary figure at the dusty crossroads, watching until he was just a speck in the distance, the wooden bird a painful weight in her palm. She watched until the horizon swallowed him whole. Years melted into one another. Kofi's journey was harder than he could have ever imagined. The city was a chaotic, indifferent beast. He slept on streets, worked jobs that broke his back for pennies, and fought off a loneliness so profound it almost consumed him. But the image of Amara, standing at the crossroads, was a talisman against despair. Her face was the fuel for his fire. He learned new trades, his intelligence and relentless work ethic slowly carving a path for him. He started a small transport business, which grew and grew. Success, when it finally came, felt hollow without her to share it. He sent letters and money back to the village, but never received a reply. He told himself the mail was unreliable, that the village was too remote. He clung to his promise. He counted the blooming of the jacaranda trees from afar. 1, 2, and then the third. With a heart full of anticipation and a car laden with gifts, Kofi finally drove back home. The journey that had taken him weeks on foot now took only a day. As he neared his village, a sense of unease began to creep in. The landscape had changed. The old dirt track was now a paved road. New, modern houses stood where familiar huts once were. A strange silence hung in the air. He drove to the crossroads, his heart pounding. The jacaranda tree was in full, glorious purple bloom, its petals carpeting the ground like a royal welcome. But Amara was not there. He waited. Hours turned into a day, then 2. He asked the new faces in the village, people he didn't recognize. Amara, they would ask, their brows furrowed. There was a family who left years ago. A sickness, I think. Or maybe they moved to the coast. Finally, he found an old woman who remembered. "Ah, the weaver's daughter," she said, her eyes distant. "Her family fell on even harder times after you left. The debt collectors were cruel. They had no choice but to leave, to find work on a distant plantation. It was a long time ago. No one has heard from them since." Kofi stood at the crossroads, the place of his sacred promise, and felt the world crumble around him. He had kept his vow. He had returned, successful and ready to build their future. But he had returned to a ghost village, to an echo of a life that no longer existed. The city hadn't swallowed him. It had swallowed the world he had left behind. All that remained was the purple rain of the jacaranda blossoms and the haunting memory of a promise made at a dusty crossroads, a promise kept to an empty sky. His success was a monument to a love he could now never reclaim, a treasure chest with no one to share it with. And in the silence of his hollow victory, he finally understood that some promises, no matter how fiercely held, are simply outrun by time.